This is the Aftermarket Radio Network.
Welcome, everyone, to yet another episode of Diagnosing the Aftermarket A to Z. I'm Matt Fanslow, and the brand isn't something you earn. It's something you live up to. That and more after a word from our sponsor, NAPA Autotech Training. Let NAPA Autotech's Build-A-Tech program, like Build-A-Bear, help you turn your general technician into a moneymaker for your shop. Make them a profitable member of your team. Go to NAPAAutotech.com for more details. So it looks like we're getting final season or seasons of Yellowstone. That's a TV show, for lack of a better term, because I don't know if we have real TV shows much anymore. Available for streaming, starring Kevin Costner and a bunch of other people that nobody knows. Centers around a cattle ranch set in Montana. And if you've seen it, you'll probably see where I'm heading with this. If you haven't seen it, for the most part, it's a pretty good show. It tries to walk a line a little bit with some Godfather type themes. Of course, being a Western setting. So some of the things they do to protect the ranch, so very, very mafia type stuff here. There's a character, I'll just name him. His name's Rip. And he is going to take out a threat. And you see him walking up to this threat with a cooler, like a beverage cooler. He's not offering him a drink. He starts shaking this cooler up, opens it, and throws the contents of the cooler at this gentleman who's fishing. And I guess what's come flying out is, I'm guessing what's supposed to be a Western Diamondback. Not really native to Montana. And even if it was, the snake lands perfectly to start striking the intended target in the face a couple times. And within seconds, if not minutes, this person is dying. I don't know how many of you or have ever cared to look into like the effects of hemotoxins, which is primarily what pit vipers have, namely the Western Diamondback, but it's really not how it works. The best case scenario would have been for this scenario to work out. So the best case to support what happened would be that this guy had a violent allergic reaction, and then they could have fixed it with the character saying to somebody or walking away like, holy crap, he must have been allergic. Otherwise, there's just really no venoms that work that fast. And hemotoxins especially wouldn't cause those types of responses. And I guess we're not going to turn this into Venom 911 episode, but that's probably one of the silliest things. I guess there's other ones when you get right down to brass tacks, but all in all, it's a decent show. It's exciting, funny. Man, I know I'm bouncing around on you guys here, but there's one character named Jimmy, and he has a character arc that rivals most on TV, even Richie from The Bear. I'm telling you, wonderful. I love it when they do stuff like that. Also, a lot of the characters in the show, Schitt's Creek, if you haven't seen that one I highly recommend. But in going with this Yellowstone idea, I don't know if you've ever watched it and been thinking about the brand. When I talk about the brand, if you haven't seen this, I'm not talking about how we talk about brands like McDonald's, Coca-Cola, Apple, Samsung, whatever, your shop, my shop. I'm not talking about that. Remember, this is set on a big ranch, cattle ranch. I'm literally talking about brands and not branding the cattle. If you work for the Yellowstone Ranch, and this is, again, following along the lines of more mafia type movies and shows, specifically the Italian mafia, where, somebody can be a made man. They're made. And I don't mean made like created, but they're welcomed into a fold, if not a level of where they're relatively, we'll just say relatively untouchable. It's a big deal to get an okay to take out a made man. And if you do without permission, it's all bad for you. The Dutton Ranch, the main Yellowstone ranch, if you will, has a similar thing where they brand certain members and they literally brand them with their logo. Kind of like that quote I said right at the beginning. The brand isn't something you earn. It's something you live up to. I guess I'm wondering why we don't start branding our employees. I'm just kidding. What I'm thinking about here is that in the show, that brand means something. You're now part of the ranch. Like you are a made man, if you will, a made person. And they also had women, cowboys, if you will, cowgirls, ranch hands, if you will. They had men and women hands. I'm just toying with the idea of the branding and not like the physical etching of someone's skin or singeing of it. But what if we had, and again, I got to be careful how I word this, right? But what if our brand meant something? Like, and where I was heading with this is like the uniform. What if the uniform meant something? And I don't know. I don't know what that means. Like if you start for the shop, apprentice level, you get a certain color of attire, uniform, and then you get made, you get the other color. And even if you don't, just the fact that you're wearing that uniform has some weight to it, some meaning to it. And I don't mean just to clients, but everyone in the building. Again, to reference the show, if you're a branded hand or employee of the ranch, they have your back. All the other branded individuals, they have you back. They come stick up for you. They come save the day. You go get yourself in some trouble, they're there to help you out. And I get it. If you've watched the show, it goes to a bit of an extreme on the legal sense. But what about our businesses having that kind of a environment or culture, if you will, of everyone's got each other's back? You know what I mean? Like when it really comes down to brass tacks, there might be a little bit of bickering, almost like family. But when it really comes down to it, everybody's got their back, each other's back. And it means something. And it's not something you earn. It's something you live up to, which means expectations, which has been a theme of the last couple episodes ago for sure. Setting expectations. And that brand is something to live up to. And again, we're not talking like unrealistic expectations, but expectations nonetheless. And having that mean something that offers, I think, a level of comfort to those that have it. Being set at ease, being able to count on people, because they also know they have to be able to be counted on. And I find that really intriguing. That type of a work environment, that type of a culture, if you will, that wearing this uniform, yes, it represents the business 100%. It represents the owner 100%. But now give a little bit of ownership to the employees and co-workers and all that this also represents me. It represents you. NAPA Autotech training sessions are being conducted day and night in a town near you. This training caters to every level within your organization, be it a mechanical assistant, a mechanical specialist, a technology specialist, or a driver safety calibration specialist. Imagine a one-stop shop training partner in NAPA Autotech that will lead your team to a path to greatness. Autotech's entry-level Build-A-Tech classes convert the untapped potential of your new hires into money-making mechanical specialists. Autotech's higher-level tech update classes introduce specialists to the world of ever-changing technologies, which prevents your shop from getting technologically stagnant. Remember, if you're not moving forward, you're falling behind. And, turning to the front of the store, the Autotech Service Advisor class is an awesome way to hone your client advocate skill set, ultimately benefiting the customer through an improved vehicle repair experience. But it doesn't stop there. Imagine an electric vehicle class that takes your specialist well past the mundane, yet necessary safety topics. Well, it's here. Autotech's EV Ready training is a week-long curriculum that takes participants through a hands-on experience involving hybrids and electric vehicles. The session kicks off with the use of PPE and proper tooling while touching on required OSHA regulations. Then, the students dive into the lab vehicles to gain knowledge of the common high-voltage components on EV and hybrid vehicles and their function. Attendees will be taken on a path exposing them to different electric vehicle manufacturers to compare component form and location. Additionally, information about Level 1 and Level 2 charging systems will be included, along with a quick look at DC to DC charging. The operation and maintenance of subsystems are explored, including the different modes of Tesla operations, and so much more. So what are you waiting for? Commit to taking your business to the next level with NAPA Autotech training. Along with those expectations, along with being able to count on people, you also are pushing each other to be better and better and better. Again, the show is for entertainment. The show Yellowstone is an entertainment piece. So things go to the extreme when they're trying to help people improve. They're probably not in the best way, which, slight tangent. You ever notice shows and movies and stuff like that? Like people that want to get better at something or stronger at something have ridiculous things done to them. Pick a show, Kickboxer with Jean-Claude Van Damme. Most people, that would just break you down further. You would not be able to go fight. But so I think we have this weird delusion where if I want to be able to take a punch, I just have people wrap me in the head with a baseball bat. And over time, I'll just develop this tolerance to being hit. It's like, if I do, it's because I can't feel it anymore and then my brain doesn't work anyways from all the CTE. But anyways, side note, they're pushing each other to be better ranch hands. And then also there's stuff they do day to day with the cattle and wrangling and directing, if you will, moving the herds. And then of course there's just other tasks of a ranch, feeding the animals, taking care of the horses. Horses in the show are extremely important to this ranch. And then fence repair, maintenance, stuff like that. They also take these skills to the rodeo, which is a subplot, if you will, and an area where you get to see character growth because of its involvement, pushing each other to get a little bit better and a little bit better. And there's one scene in one of the later seasons that I really, really liked where they brought in some ringers. And I don't mean ringers for like as just ranch hands, but for like rodeoing. And you get to see just how good they are, how good the horses are, allows for those that wouldn't know to see how far you can go, like how high you can go. And if I had a reference for us, if you've listened to many of Carm's podcasts or maybe a few others, maybe Sean's, I didn't go digging for reference, maybe Jeff's too, where there's just the ability to see somebody that is very, very good at what they do. My reference would be many people go to a John Thornton class or bring him in as a mobile tech, and they get to see one of the best to ever do it. And it awakens a passion they didn't know they had, and also gave some scope or scale to where they are versus where they could go or want to go. And are you ever going to be as good as John? I don't know. I mean, the reality is be rough. But then there's a saying, right? Shoot for the stars. And if you land on the moon, well, that's okay too. That's not nothing. That isn't bad advice either. I saw somebody who was absolutely terrific. And now I have this idea of where I want to go. And you put yourself on the path. And maybe, however, whatever that time frame is, years later, you look back and go, I am so much better than I was. Am I as good as the target, whatever range that is? There may be no real barometer to tell, but let's just say no. It was worth the effort. So I love that scene where and it's not just a scene, I think it's a few scenes, but you get to see the best of the best. And these ranch hands who don't know, there was no way for them to know, get to see that and go, I got a long ways to go. I'm not what I thought I was. I already knew I sucked. I didn't realize how far I was from a more of an elite level. And now I got my work cut out for me. But now I have an idea of what I got to work on. I have an idea of a path to get there. So important. I just like that idea of, be it our uniforms, being part of the shop, whatever that is, just the employment, meaning something. And again, like we can help try to give value to that, to our clients, so that they see the logo, the building, the people, they start assigning value to it. But I'm twisting it a little bit. It's less about the client and more about the people who work there. And honestly, those that work there, that manage it, that own it, feeling a value for just being there. And not, I mean, going through the motions, but being a part of that system, being a part of that organization, being a part of that organism, and feeling valued, not just by management, not just by the owner, but also each other, and vice versa. Management and the owners feeling valued as part of this organization, part of this organism, from everybody that works there, because we've given this brand some value, all in our actions and our attitudes and our words. I'm a top-down guy. I just feel like it's rough for the employees to turn the culture around. Can it be done? Yeah. I think Justin Morgan and I talked about it a while ago when I referenced a movie called Waiting, how the employees, specifically one, turned the culture of the restaurant around with a game. But as a general rule, this usually has to come from the top down. It's the best way. Leadership leads. I think when value is given beyond just pay and benefits and all that, that's extremely important. But more than that, like, you are a part of something. You're branded. And now, because of that, we got you. We got you. We're here to help you. And if you need help, we're there. And we're going to push you. And we're going to hope you push us back. Push us to be better too. So, like I said, looks like they're going to finish out that series. There's a few other spin-offs, if you will. I think 1883 and 1923, pretty decent shows on their own, different than Yellowstone. It's not a bad show. If you start seeing Rip walking over, fast walking with a cooler, it's a good time to get up and refill your beverage or hit the restroom quick, come back. Just assume like something else happened leading to that guy's demise. And with that, I will leave you. Hope you got a kick out of this. If you did or didn't, please shoot me an email, mattfonslowpodcast@gmail.com. You can also track me down on social media. I'd like to thank our sponsor, NAPA Autotech Training and the Aftermarket Radio Network. And until next time, take care.
You've been listening to Matt Fanslow, diagnosing the aftermarket A to Z on the Aftermarket Radio Network. Follow Matt on your favorite listening app. He's very interested in what you have to say. Let him know what you'd like him to cover and come on the show. Matt is all for advancing the aftermarket. Find Matt Fanslow on social media and connect or on aftermarketradionetwork.com.